قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our Sunday after Asr episode of Ask Zad. Due to the number of callers, we will skip the emails inshallah and go straight to your calls. So we have Sharif from India. Sharif from India. Sharif bhai? Okay, I think Sharif is not on the line. Aideen from Bosnia. Aideen. Okay, maybe you have a problem with the callers, so we will take a couple of questions from...
Hello.
Okay.
Alaikum
salam. Who's this?
This is Ahmed from Holland, brother.
Ahmed. Hayyak Allah, Ahmed. What can I do for you, Khi?
So my question is, there's a da'i in Britain. He goes by the name of
without
Muhammad
names.
Hijab.
Without names. Without names.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So he recently started slandering the great shuyukh from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
My question is should we take from this person, or what's the approach regarding this? Jazakallah khairan.
Wa jazak. And we have Aisha from Singapore, from the US.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam tullah. And you are from the US?
No, Singapore.
Okay, so it's Aisha from Singapore. Yes, Aisha.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the dua after wudu, is it mandatory?
Okay. I will answer inshallah. And we have Aisha from the US.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
My question is, what is murabaha?
Okay. And we have Hashim from Saudi.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Okay, so my question is, I know this ruling about how if the money has to pass a year so that it's eligible for zakat, right?
Okay.
So if there's a wallet that has a money that passed over a year, and my dad gives me an allowance, and the money didn't pass over a year, and I put it in my wallet that's some that's passed over a year, and another, and the money that my dad gave me didn't. So, when it's time to pay zakat, how do I know which one passed over a year and which one didn't?
Okay. I will answer you. Got your question. Muhammad from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Samtullah.
My question is regarding congregational prayers. So I have a confusion regarding joining the prayer late and completing that particular area of prayer. For example, if I join the prayer 5 seconds before Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, the prayer ending, should I keep on sitting and do the whole Attahiyatulillahi, Ashhadu an la ilaha, salutations to the Messenger Sallallahu and Rabbi Jalni, or should I just stand up and complete the rest of the prayer? Similarly, if I join it in the middle of the Fatiha, standing, should I complete the Fatiha or should I go into the Ruku and so on and so forth? The question is basically joining the prayer in the middle of a section. Should I complete that section or should I continue with my prayer, remaining prayer?
I will answer inshallah. And Kamil from Saudi?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Yeah, we all know that Allah is most merciful, most forgiving. The act of innovation are not accepted at all. So the innovators who spend a lot of their time, money, and sometimes they do with the full concentration and sometimes crying because of this innovation. All this innovation will go down to the drain.
Okay, so basically you are saying that every innovation would be sinful and a person would be accountable in his grave for it or not?
I think no benefit at all to all his good deeds.
Okay.
Okay.
Barakallah feekum. And we have Iman from the Emirates.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
Yes, my friend's sister is a single mother. She works and takes care of her 3 daughters who are all above 14 years and they're not married. So if she has 120 grams of gold, as we know, the nisab for gold is 85 grams. So if she divides the gold between her 3 daughters, each of them will get 40 grams, which is below the nisab. Can you please advise if zakat is applicable in this case, or would it come under playing with the rulings of Islam?
Okay. I will answer inshallah. And we have Mahfooduddin from Indonesia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
Hayyak Allah, Mahfoud.
Thank you, Sheikh. I would like to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Sheikh, what is the ruling, or what is the ruling if a person passes away in the state of junub or major impurity? What is the ruling for that, Sheikh?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Ismail from Uzbekistan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I'm a layman. I don't know Arabic. I've never learned usul al-fiqh yet, and I've been practicing the deen for only 2 years.
Mashallah.
But, well, I know tajweed, and I do read Islamic books, and my question is, how can I apply the ayah and those who call to the truth from Surah Al-Ashr into my life? For example, when I see a clear-cut sin, like smoking, profanity, premixing, or if someone I know is, for example, a Maturidi or an Ashari and blind follows a sheikh from those aqaid, and am I allowed to quote a scholar or Ahl al-Ilm like yourself or others to correct them, or should I just keep silence because I myself am a layman who doesn't know anything and thus should not talk about the religion at all? Jazakallah khairan.
Wa jazak. So Sumaya from the Emirates. Sumaya.
Assalamu alaikum.
You're not Sumaya.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah. Recently, my husband attended a funeral. So he saw there women were allowed to come in the graveyard, and then they prayed behind the men funeral prayer. And in the burial procession, the imam who was in charge, he called and encouraged the women to come forward and throw sand in the grave and make dua along with men for the deceased. So is this allowed in Islam?
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, women are not allowed to visit the graveyard.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Sad man from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Sheikh, my question is, if a Muslim ruler gives license or legitimacy of haram work in the country, gives legitimacy to the import and export of haram goods, will the ruler become kafir? Some brothers in my country says that as the ruler have given the permissibility of a haram thing, he becomes kafir.
Okay. I will answer inshallah. And Abdul Aziz from the UK. Abdul Aziz. Or from Pakistan. I don't know. Put anyone.
Hello.
Yes, who's this?
Haq. H-A-Q.
Okay, Haq from Pakistan. Yes, Haq.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you,
Alaikum
Sheikh?
salam tullah, hayyak Allah, akhi. I'm doing well.
Okay, my question is regarding the Taweez. So, a year or 2 years back, there was some spiritual presence in our house. So we contacted a Maulana here, and he did some things and on his own, and then gave us a piece of paper. On it, something was written. It wasn't Arabic, and I couldn't find it in the Quran or in any Hadith. But it was pasted in a room. And second thing he did was flour, wheat from which bread is made. So he told us to put that flour, mix it with water, and put it in a plate type of thing on the roof of the house, and leave it for about 3-4 days, and then after go back and see if that flour was eaten or not, and whether it was eaten or not, just throw it in the sea. So we did that. So I never actually found out what was that practice, and never had that much knowledge about these kind of things. But now I'm curious, like, was that with regards to any sunnah? Or was it regards to any verse in the Quran, or was it made by him all by himself?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Muhammad from the US.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, my question is, with the place I live, so the masjid I usually go, I noticed the imam, actually, after the prayer, he make dua by raising hands. Then during announcement for Ramadan, he recites the dua for, what is it called, Rajab. That what he said, it is an innovation. And also they are announcing for Ramadan, there will be 5 odd nights, Qiyamul Layl, which we know like it could be any day of the last 10 nights. So in my belief, they are following some innovation. So my question is, will I be sinful, or will that affect my prayer if I pray behind that imam?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Muhammad Farhan from the Philippines.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair for asking. What can I do for you, Muhammad?
My question, Sheikh, is, Sheikh, if an impurity hits a part of a body that has a hair on it, for example, if a urine hits my leg that has a hair, how do we remove the impurities? Is washing it sufficient, Sheikh?
I don't understand a word of what you said.
My question, Sheikh, is, Sheikh, if an impurity hits a part of a body that has a hair on it, for example, if a urine hits my leg that has a hair, how do we remove the impurities? Is washing it sufficient?
Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Wajazak. And Nariman from Lebanon.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, recently I heard about something called diminishing ijara. Could you please explain what that is?
Okay.
Jazakallah khair.
Wajazakum. And we have Faizu from India.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Yes, Sheikh, actually I am suffering from OCD from last 5 years. In the beginning, there were coming thoughts in my mind that maybe I have left the fold of Islam. Then after recovering from OCD, I was laughing on my thoughts, what I was saying. I repeated my shahada. Now again, I am suffering from OCD. I was taking too much time in the washroom, and alhamdulillah, everything got recovered. I watched your videos. I'm recovered everything. But again, doubts are coming in my mind. As it's a doubting disorder, there is coming doubts in my mind whether I have made a sin or not. Is this a sin or not? Whether I already know. So I start discussing with my brother. I am also taking psychiatric professional advices. But with your videos, I have got improved a lot. Please today give me detailed explanation on this. I am really fed up from this.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Rahmatullah from India.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Rahmatullah.
Yeah, Sheikh, my question is that, during wudu, actually I take a lot of time in making wudu. and I kind of see the details that everywhere the water has reached or not, and it takes a long time in making it. So so my question was that if while making wudu, should I check all the limbs and all that it has clearly washed or not, or should I proceed with that only?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Zadid from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, did I pronounce your name right?
Yes.
Yes, Zadid. What can I do for you?
Understand the hadith that says, everyone from my ummah will be forgiven except those who boast about their sins. Does that even mean who didn't repent for that sin will also be forgiven, even if it's a major sin?
Okay, I will answer you. And CD from Germany. CD?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, what's the ruling of a person who doesn't want to wake up for Fajr prayer, and he can wake up for Fajr prayer like using the alarm or waking up by a person, but he doesn't want it, and he always wakes up after sunset? Is his Fajr prayer valid or not?
You mean sunrise, not sunset. I hope it's not sunset.
Sunrise, I mean, sorry.
Okay. I will answer, inshallah. And finally, Misbah from Turkey.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
What books should a student of knowledge study first?
Okay. I will answer, inshallah. So we have like 20 questions and less than half an hour to answer them. So let's see what Allah Azza wa Jal gives us power and support and knowledge to answer as many as possible. He whom we only depend upon, but only we will continue after the break, so stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests. and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ahmed from Holland, he says that there is a da'iyah, and this da'iyah slanders the scholars of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So what should we do with such a da'i? This so-called da'i doesn't live in Saudi Arabia, so he can do whatever he wants. And not all the scholars of Saudi Arabia are perfect. There are those who are great, well-known scholars who are known to the whole world. And there are scholars that are not so well-known, but they're not also that great. And there are corrupt scholars. So it's like any other country. This is not utopia. However, the vast majority of those who talk ill about the scholars of Saudi Arabia, they are either among the Khawarij. So they have this tendency to give takfir to anyone who goes against their opinion. Someone can come and slander me and speak ill about me. So what? Someone can say, you are a donkey. That doesn't mean I'm going to grow 2 ears and a tail. No problem. I have no problem with that. It doesn't mean that this guy is evil or a saint. It doesn't mean that he's going to heaven or to hell by only that action because he doesn't like me. But the vast majority who talk ill about the scholars of this great country do so because they follow Tawheed. They do so because they abide by the Quran and the Sunnah. They do so probably for political motives. But do they have any credibility? Of course not. Such da'is who talk ill about the scholars of Saudi Arabia and they slander them without showing, without proof, without evidence, just to make people hate them or repel them or just to discredit them. Who is this individual? Most likely no one. Who had ever heard of him? Most likely those who follow his same bandwidth. They are on the same level of liking to criticize the Muslim rulers, look down upon them, give takfir, give whatever they can against the Muslim rulers. This is why they speak ill about the scholars of Saudi Arabia. So you cannot keep on addressing such people. Let them be, let them bark, let them holler, let them say whatever they want. This does not discredit great scholars of Islam. And the great scholars are well known, well identified. They don't have to produce a lot of material on social media so that they would have followers. It's not the number of followers. It's not how big your bicep is. Real knowledge is real knowledge. One of these so-called da'is sit in front a scholar. He could not open his mouth. But unfortunately, nowadays, everybody, like myself, who speaks English, doesn't have those with knowledge who can talk back to them. So it's an arena where everybody jumps in and does whatever he wants to do, says whatever he wants to say, and there is no one to hold him to account. So, akhi, neglect those who seek fame, who have followers on social media. Follow real scholars, well-known scholars who are known not to sell their religion for some money or for some fame, who are known to be steadfast, not flipping sides every now and then, not changing their colors every now and then, and inshallah you'll be safe. Aisha from Singapore is the dua after wudu mandatory? The answer is no. It's highly recommended. But if you skip it, there is nothing affecting your wudu. Aisha from the US, what is murabaha? Murabaha is a transaction where I see this device, it's not mine, and I tell someone who has money, listen, if you buy this device, I'm going to give you a profit, ribh, of, let's say, 10%. So he goes and buys it, possesses it, and then displays it to me. I have the right to say, okay, I'll buy it, and we finish the transaction, or I say, no, I'm not interested anymore. 10% is a lot. I want 1% profit. He would say, but you told me, no. No strings attached. Because if there were any strings attached, such as, okay, he says to me, give me down payment of 10 riyals. This is haram. He's selling what he does not possess. If he says, okay, swear to me, and this is binding to you at court that you're going to buy it from me. Again, this is not permissible. So it's any car, any property I see, and I tell someone with money, listen, if you buy this for $1 million, the property, I'll give you 1.2 over the duration of a whole year, a whole 10 years, for example. He says, okay, he buys it. Then he says, yalla, come, let's finish our transaction. If I have the right to say, no, I changed my mind, or I can proceed, this is totally legit. Hashim from Saudi Arabia says, he has an amount of money that is due for zakat on the 1st of Ramadan. However, 6 months earlier, his father gave him a new amount of money. So he's asking now, how would I calculate zakat? Akhi, basically speaking, every amount of money that exceeds the nisab, that exceeds the threshold, you have to put it in a container or a wallet, and after 12 months, you give zakat for it. But this is not practical. We cannot have 12 portfolios or 12 wallets or 12 bags or boxes, and we put our salaries in each one. And 1 year later, we see how much do we have left, and we give zakat on that. Therefore, scholars said that to make things easy and to remove any confusion or doubt, let's set one date in the Hijri year. Let's assume it is the 1st of Muharram. And every 1st of Muharram, I allocate and calculate how much I have, whether it came 1 month ago or 6 months ago or a full year, and give whatever 2.5% on whatever I possess. And then for the next 12 months, I would not care about what comes in and what goes out in terms of wealth. Until the following or the coming 1st of Muharram, I do this exercise again and give zakat, and this is the best way to do it. Muhammad from Pakistan says, if I sit in the last tashahhud, I join the congregation in the last tashahhud, as soon as I say Allahu Akbar and I sit and I say At-Tahiyyatu Lillahi was-Salawatu, and the Imam says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, what should I? Should I continue? No. Stand up and offer the remaining of your prayers. If I join the Imam while he's standing position, so I said Allahu Akbar, and it's a silent prayer. So the moment I said Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, he said Allahu Akbar and went for ruku'. Should I continue my Fatiha? If you are certain that if you continue your Fatiha quickly and you can attain ruku' with him, do so. If not, as in the case I just started and he made ruku', then go for ruku', and you would take the same ruling as a person who came while the Imam was in the ruku', and Allah knows best. Kamil from Saudi Arabia. Is it possible that those who innovate would not benefit anything from their innovation? Meaning, I see so many people celebrate Mawlid, they do dhikr after a prayer in congregation, they do innovated dhikr, and they do a lot of innovated celebrations, etc. Is it possible that they will get zero benefit or hasanat over this? The answer is, it's in Allah's hands. The hadith we know, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever innovates anything in our religion, it is rejected, meaning it's cancelled. There's no reward in it. However, no one knows what's in the hearts except Allah Azza wa Jal. So there might be a possibility for someone who's ignorant, who is following his peers and scholars who ordered him, instructed him to do this innovation, that when he does it with sincerity, though he is not following the Prophet ﷺ due to his ignorance, not due to his rejection, maybe Allah would reward him, but this is in Allah's hands. We cannot say. What we have, according to the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah, that they get nothing of good deeds. Some scholars say, maybe they would be lucky if they're not sinful. So no good deeds, but no sin. But to claim that they would do innovation and yet be rewarded for that, this is something in Allah's hand, but it goes against what we have of evidences. Iman from the Emirates says, if a woman has gold and this gold is over 85 grams of gold, 24K, and usually she gives zakat to it. Now she wants to give her 3 daughters, divide it upon them like 30 grams each, which means that it would be below the threshold. So do they have to pay zakat? The answer is, if she's doing this as a trick so that she would skip zakat, this is not permissible, because gold is actually hers. It's in her possession. She did not give it to them so that they can sell it if they wish, or give it as a gift if they wish. No, she still possesses it, but it is just by name possessed by them, but it's not. She has to give zakat. But if she actually and genuinely gave the gold to them, and both on all of them, it's below the threshold, then there is no zakat on it, because they possessed it, they can do with it whatever they want, and it's not hers anymore. Mahfoud from Indonesia, he says, if someone dies while in the state of major sexual impurity, major ritual impurity, what's the ruling on that? Nobody knows when his death is going to come. So Hanzala ibn Abi Amir, may Allah be pleased with him, Hanzala al-Ghasil, he is one of the companions who was martyred while in the state of sexual impurity, because he was newlywed and he went straight to the battle when he heard that there is a jihad being called for. And the Prophet said that he saw him, alayhi salam, between the heavens and the earth, being washed, given the ritual ghusl by the angels. But not every one of us would get such an honor. So if a person dies while in the state of sexual impurity, there's nothing he can do, or there's nothing wrong in it. We're going to give him proper ghusl as every Muslim deceased, and then we shroud him and nothing would come to him bi'idhnillah. Ismail from Uzbekistan. If I am a layman, I don't know Arabic, yet I read some Quran, I read some hadiths and translations. If I see evil in front of me, should I keep a shut mouth and not comment, or have to go to a scholar to ask him? Or should I intervene? Depends on the knowledge you possess. If you possess knowledge of something that is not disputable, meaning that someone drinks intoxicants in front of you, you don't need to be a scholar. You don't need to know a single word of Arabic. You don't even need to memorize anything of the Quran. This is known by default to all Muslims. That's a major sin and haram. You should speak. Such things, a person doesn't pray, you should speak. But if it's an issue of dispute, a woman covers her face or not, no, keep silent. You don't have the energy or the information or the knowledge to go and speak about these things. Issues of dispute among scholars that you don't have proper knowledge in, you don't intervene. Sumaya from the Emirates, she says that some scholars, they say that it is permissible for women to enter a cemetery and to participate in the burial process and to throw some sand to the grave. So what's the ruling on that? It's an issue of dispute. It is an issue of dispute among scholars whether women can attend or go to graveyards or not. And there's no issue of dispute on the ruling on women praying funeral prayers. This is totally legit. But the problem is in them entering a graveyard or a cemetery. The most authentic opinion that this is not permissible. But if a scholar thinks otherwise, he has the right to do so because it is an issue of dispute. It's not Simon says and you have to obey. This is an issue that scholars disputed upon and each have their own evidences. Sadman says, if a ruler permits and legislates importing haram or consumption of haram, does he become a kafir? The answer is no. And Sadman, be careful because it seems that this is a tendency, not only for you, but also for the people in Bangladesh to want to give takfir. And this is a characteristic of the Khawarij. Be careful of that. Takfir is not done by laymen. It's not done by someone who doesn't even know how to read the Quran or that did not ever read the books of hadith or went through the books of Aqidah. Just because you heard someone speak about takfir or about ruling with other than what Allah has legislated, khalas, you took this and considered it the most authentic and the undisputed and the only thing in Islam that we should call for. So you go around and look for anyone who does not rule with what Allah has legislated and label him as kafir and what comes after that. This is a very dangerous thing. This is not for you. This is for scholars, real scholars with knowledge, with fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, with knowledge of the consequences of the actions, and be careful from falling into that trap. Haq from Pakistan. A person came to their home. They thought that their home was haunted. So he recited things, he wrote things on a piece of paper and told them to keep it somewhere. And when he opened it, it had no Arabic in it. He did not know what it was. And he gave them flour and told them to mix it with water and put it on the roof for 3 days. I don't know if they made it into a croissant or some type of bread or whatever, chapati maybe. And he said after 3 days, if it was consumed, then this means so-and-so. If it was not, then throw it in the... This guy is a soothsayer. He is a sorcerer or an impostor, a liar. He has nothing to do with Islam. And believing him may take you out of the fold of Islam. And what had been done in the past is forgiven. Ask Allah for forgiveness and never repeat such a thing. Muhammad from the US, he says, should I pray behind someone who commits an innovation? This is generic, Muhammad, because any person who's a Muslim and his prayer is valid at the sight of Allah for himself, then his prayer as an imam is valid for me to pray behind him. And innovation is divided into two types. Innovation that takes someone out of the fold of Islam. So if someone does not believe in the beautiful names and attributes of Allah, if someone talks ill about something in Islam, if someone doesn't believe in the torment of the grave or in the sirat or does types of shirk, all of these are innovations. If he believes that you can invoke the dead in their graves and ask them for help and assistance, this is shirk. So such an innovation takes a person out of the fold of Islam and you cannot pray behind him. But if the innovation is making congregational dua after salah, throwing a mawlid to the Prophet ﷺ without any shirk, or the likes of what you had mentioned, then prayer behind them is valid, but it is not recommended. Muhammad from the Philippines, he says, if an impurity hits part of your body that has hair. So for example, if urine came on my arm and there is hair on my arm, how to purify it? By water. Any impurity is purified with water. So you just simply wash it, and that is it. Nariman from Lebanon, she says, what's the ruling on ijara that is diminishing? This is a long topic, and maybe I will leave it to the last so that I can finish the questions and then come back to it. Fez from India, he has OCD. Now, OCD students, I cannot give you something that would answer it in a nutshell. You have to get a counseling session where I'll talk to you, I'll walk you out of it bi'idhnillah azza wa jal by opening your eyes. I'm not a shrink, I'm not a psychiatrist. I've never studied it, but I know how to deal with OCD through Sharia. And usually I ask the people, would you like to follow Sharia or your whims and desires? Everybody says Sharia. The second question, are you at the moment following Sharia or following your whims and desires? They all say, no, we are following our whims and desires. We can't spend 10 minutes doing wudu. We can't have these intrusive thoughts because this is not Sharia. At the moment, we are definitely following our whims and desires. And this is how it begins. And this is how the treatment begins. Rahmatullah from India is the same concept. Thinking that water did not reach. Akhi, by default, 2 billion Muslims on earth are performing wudu. Now you're going to tell me that, mashallah, you are the chosen one because you are the only one who cannot perform wudu and you spend so much time. Are you following Sharia or whims and desires? His answer is going to be whims and desires. The same concept. Zadid from Bangladesh, he says the hadith, كل أمتي معافى إلا المجاهرون. All of my ummah will be forgiven except those who announce it, or declare it, or boast about their sins. Does this, all of my ummah are forgiven? Is it included in them those who make major sins and do not repent? The answer is yes. This is up to Allah's mercy because Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah believe that anyone who is sinful but not mushrik, not kafir, he had committed major sins, that he is in the divine will. If Allah wishes, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wills it, he forgives all of his major sins. If not, he's going to hold him accountable. So we believe that kullu ummati mu'afa includes those who make major sins and do not repent from it, according to the divine will. CD from Germany, if someone does not take any preparations to wake up for Fajr, rather he deliberately prohibits people from waking him up to pray, and he doesn't set the alarm clock to pray, this person's prayer after sunrise is invalid. Whether he prayed or not, it doesn't make any difference. Allah will not accept it from him. And unfortunately, the vast majority of Muslims are like this. They do not set the alarm clock except at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock to go to work or for university, but not for prayer. They deliberately skip Fajr prayer. They cannot pray Fajr. It's gone. As they cannot pray it 1 minute before the adhan, they cannot pray it after the time is over if they skipped it deliberately. Misbah says, what books of knowledge should he study first? This is too generic, Misbah, because it's not a syllabus that you follow. It depends on your ability. You have to go through memorizing the Quran. You have to study tafsir of the Quran. You have to study the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. You have to study basic books of fiqh. You have to go into some fatawas. You have to refresh, read seerah books. You have to read books in basics aqeedah. You can find all of this, inshallah, on my YouTube channel. And there are courses that are very easygoing. It is coming from an easy person to easy people, so you won't be confused bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, and you will benefit from that. Now, coming back to Nariman's question, what is diminishing ijara? This is a transaction where I have a property, let's say a house, and the house costs $300,000. I cannot buy it cash. So I go to a financial institution, let's say a bank, and I say to the bank, listen, I'm interested in buying this property. Would you like to come as a partner where you pay, let's say, $250,000 and I'll pay $50,000, and we will have a partnership that owns that property. So the benefits, the profits that is generated is divided through this percentage, whatever percentage we agree upon, but the losses would be in this ratio, which is 50,000 and 250,000 for them. So it's a ratio of 1 to 5, I think. So this is the way. If they say, okay, we make this company, we become partners. This is Asim's first hat, an owner of a portion of the property. Now, I take this hat and put another hat. After the transaction has been done, we're partners now. And I approach the company and I say to them, listen, this property of yours, I'd like to rent it. But while renting it, I'll give you a top-up. I'll give you an extra on the rent so that after a year, 2 or 3, I will transfer 5%, 10% of your ownership to my ownership as an owner. So now I have 2 hats. So I talk to them. They say, the company, which is I'm a partner in, said, okay. So they set the rent, which is normal, a little bit high, and they say that you have to pay us as well, maybe $1,500 or $2,000 a month extra in order to get the 5% after a year or so, for example. If this is the case, and the insurance is not paid by the tenant, my second hat, rather it's paid by the actual owner, which is the partnership, and the actual maintenance is not paid by the tenant, rather by the company, as any other tenant. If the roof starts leaking, I don't fix it. It's their problem. They should fix it. Among other things, and if the financial institution does not insist on having a clause guaranteeing their profit or guaranteeing their capital, they say the 250,000, even if anything happens, we have to get it. No, this is not permissible. The installments and the profit cannot be set for the next 20 years. No, it has to be renegotiated every 2 years or 3 maximum, so that it would be actual. Maybe the prices go down and I've agreed to them for 20 years to pay this amount of money. No, this is haram. This is riba. They're guaranteeing their money. So it has to be renegotiated according to the marketplace, among other conditions. This is permissible, inshallah, and this makes a way out for the people in Europe and the US to bypass the mortgage, the conventional mortgage system, which is clear riba and clear haram. This is all the time we have until we meet next Saturday between Maghrib and Isha in Mecca time. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين